Hello there ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Zat and I'm here today in this video to start what I hope will be a very long series of videos where I go over the subject of programming, not even necessarily programming limited exclusively to C++. However, C languages are going to be the focus of this tutorial series, but I will be focusing primarily on C++ as it, is used in almost everything, and if you learn C++ and if you learn a C language, generally speaking here, that experience will transfer over to almost every single language you could use, including Java, C#, Lua, basically everything. If you know C++, if you're good at one of these languages, you're more likely than not going to be incredibly good at, basically every other language that's used in any sort of application. Now, this is going to be the language I'm focusing on, since it is easiest to get set up and working with, and C++ is a very common language and there's quite a bit of documentation on it. So this video really is going to be a getting started video. We're not actually going to write any code in this video, but I'm going to go over basically some of the requirements that you need, and I'm assuming that people have had absolutely no experience with programming whatsoever. But let's actually get on to how you can get started. Now, you'll need a compiler. Now, since C++ is a compiled language that runs directly on the hardware, making it faster than quite a few other languages, it needs to, of course, be compiled, as in, you need to take your source code, or the code that you write, and translate it into, well, I should say transform it into a form that the computer can process. Now, to do this, you would use a compiler, and to make the compilers easier to use, we have this thing called an integrated development environment. Now, in this tutorial and this series, I'm going to be mostly using code blocks. It's not personally the IDE that I'd prefer. I honestly like Visual Studio because, well, it's something I really like, but you can use this as well. I mean, it's up to you. I honestly prefer Visual Studio over code blocks in many cases, but code blocks is an easy IDE to get set up. It's small. You really just press, you really just download the MingGW version of it and install it and you're done. And it really doesn't involve quite as much downloading as, say, Visual Studio. However, it does lack some of the features that Visual Studio has, but really in this situation, we aren't really going to have to worry about, some of those features, like AMP, for example. We're going to be really just focusing on simple code, things like classes and so on and so forth. And we're going to be really taking this entire series in baby steps. So we're going to just be focusing on basic code, and we're going to be using code blocks to write that code, since it's just easy. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end this video here. Just go ahead and download, code blocks so you can get everything started and install it. And if it's working correctly, you should, when you start up code blocks, see a window like this. So I'm going to end this video here. I encourage you to go ahead and download code blocks. If you have problems doing that, I would encourage you to, comment on the actual YouTube channel and, ask me any questions. And I may or may not include links to code blocks, the code blocks website, but you should be able to find all of this information simply by using Google, Bing, or whatever search system you'd prefer to use. So anyways, guys, that's all. See ya.